Well, people are still flocking to beaches right around the country, but officials are concerned this may be contributing to a different kind of wave as COVID-19, as I've just indicated, continue to spiral. The mother city is, of course, world famous for its beaches, but there are now growing concerns they could be shut down to stop the spread. Let's begin our coverage on this story with reporter Ayesha Ismail in Cape Town. So, Ayesha, good afternoon to you. Growing concern as people continue to ignore the regulations.
That is indeed so, Jeremy, but I must just say to you, just a few minutes ago when I got to the beach here in Hout Bay, the sun was shining, and now, as you can see, it is raining. People who were on the beaches have now just left because of the rain. But I'm now joined by Councillor Badruddin from the City of Cape Town, who's been telling me that the city has put plans in place to try and reduce infections on the beaches during the festive season. He believes that these measures that the city has put in place will be sufficient. But, Councillor, what happens if the President decides to place restrictions or further restrictions and decide to close the beaches? Given that the infections are spreading, whether we like it or not, at a very rapid pace in the Western Cape and particularly in the Cape Metro.
So we must keep in mind that any decision taken to close the beach will have a number of implications, not only on visitors that may come to the City of Cape Town, but for the residents as well. It goes without saying that 2020 has been an immensely difficult year, with a number of people making difficult decisions to put their health first. And so we recognize that health is essential this year, and the City of Cape Town, for that reason, hasn't had its head in the sands. We've put a number of measures in place to make sure that residents are able to enjoy these spaces. But the impact, as you've noted, will go beyond just people enjoying the festive season. The December period in the City of Cape Town is described and is known for the number of people coming, on the economic benefit that this brings to the City of Cape Town, the businesses that rely on all of these people coming to these spaces. In engaging with businesses, we know very well that any decision to either reduce the curfew to make it earlier, any decision that's taken to reduce the number of individuals makes it very difficult for businesses to remain open. In the City of Cape Town, through our environmental health practitioners, we've seen restaurants open up using rotational systems so that the restaurants can then be cleaned, sanitized, so that new patrons can come in. On our beaches, we've spent almost 50 million rand to employ 600 lifeguards, EPWP workers for the Identity Kids program. Law enforcement has increased their numbers as well, all to make sure that we can educate and enforce and remind people about the COVID behavior that is such a necessity. We're also saying that any closure to the beach in the city can be mitigated in terms of risk of spread, because we have everything in place, but also scientifically, the ventilation here is much better, space is wider, better to encourage a bit more social distancing rather than locking people into small communities where they interact with each other over and over again, increasing the risk of spread.
Thank you so much for your time, and that was Councillor Zahid Badruddin from the City of Cape Town.
And that is Ayesha Ismail at Hout Bay. So let me take you from the Western Cape to the Eastern Cape. That province is intensifying, should I say, its fight against COVID-19. The Premier, Oscar Mabuyane, has written to national government to back his decision to have beaches and parks closed for the festive season.
What we have done is to take a decision concerning our province, and we have asked national government to affirm that decision and encourage two neighboring provinces, KZN and Western Cape, to adopt a similar decision. The main reason we're doing that is to prevent infection and spread of infection through the high number of people that congregate in the beaches and in the recreational parks. Now, if you look at the trend, people from Eastern Cape would spend some time of festive season in the Western Cape or in KZN. And the same for people from these two provinces, and many other provinces would come back. So we are saying, if we want for us to be able to lower the infection that goes through this holiday season, we need to put together, to ensure that everyone is safe, we've put together a safety plan for the festive season, and part of that safety plan is to identify risk areas, and we have identified beaches, recreational parks, and Imigidi as those pressure points for us. So that is why we've closed Imigidi, for instance. No one will do Umgidi after Ulwaluko this festive season, and we're calling for the same in terms of people going to the beaches.